Tonight, there is breaking news just as we come on the air. The suspect in court right now, accused of firebombing the Pennsylvania governor's home with the family inside, unleashing a massive fire. Parts of the home up in flames. Tonight, he's now facing attempted murder charges and terrorism charges as well. The governor and his family sleeping upstairs, part of the dining room destroyed. Authorities say there was one door that was secured that made the difference. And what we've learned tonight about the suspect, what he planned to do if he found Governor Shapiro. Also breaking tonight, the images coming in, the earthquake in California, striking San Diego, the warnings in Los Angeles, the cell phone warning that went out moments before. Tonight, the immigration standoff over a Maryland man, a husband and father, wrongly sent to a prison in El Salvador. The U.S. Supreme Court ruling the U.S. must facilitate his return. But today, President Trump and the president of El Salvador in the Oval Office. El Salvador's president, when asked if they'll return the man, he said that's a preposterous question. President Trump's tariff whiplash, exempting iPhones, computers, and many high-tech items now, only to now say that's just temporary and that those tariffs will soon return in a new bucket, saying tariffs on pharmaceuticals are coming too. And where President Xi of China is tonight. The tragic plane crash in a field in upstate New York, killing a former NCAA Woman of the Year, her parents, her brother, and 2 others also killed. History made tonight. The star-studded all-female Blue Origin flight crew, including Katy Perry and Gayle King, blasting off, headed to the edge of space, Oprah crying at liftoff. And then the parachutes bringing the capsule down for a gentle landing. And what the passengers said right afterward, you'll hear it. Tonight, the remarkable rescue here, the woman clinging to the side of a cliff for more than an hour, a rescuer dropping from a helicopter in an effort to save her. And golfer Rory McIlroy's emotional win at the Masters, his 17th try. And tonight, you'll hear the message to his 4-year-old daughter.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to start another week with all of you at home. We do begin tonight with breaking news. The suspect in court just moments ago facing attempted murder and terrorism charges after authorities say he firebombed the home of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, setting it on fire while the governor, his wife, and 4 children were all sleeping upstairs. The charred remains of the mansion's piano room and part of the dining room tonight, broken windows on the first floor of the home, and evidence of the fire unleashed on that floor. Authorities say the suspect used 2 homemade Molotov cocktails with gasoline from his lawnmower. Just hours before, the governor posting this photo on social media of a table set for the Passover Seder. Authorities say the suspect, Cody Balmer, fled the scene and what he told police he planned to do if he found the governor. Again, just moments ago, the suspect before the judge tonight, and ABC's chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky leading us off. He's in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania tonight.
Tonight, sir, what were you thinking? This is the suspect police are calling a domestic terrorist. They say Cody Balmer scaled a fence and firebombed Governor Josh Shapiro's residence while the governor and his family were sleeping upstairs. These images show the damage from 2 Molotov cocktails made from beer bottles and gasoline that prosecutors say Balmer took from his lawnmower. The piano room and part of the dining room destroyed, chairs and tables charred, other objects melted. In the same spot hours earlier, the Shapiros celebrating the first night of Passover.
Lori and I are overwhelmed by the prayers and the messages of support that we've received from all across Pennsylvania and all across the United States.
A senior law enforcement official tells ABC News authorities are investigating whether this attack could have been motivated by the governor's Jewish faith. Shapiro and his family were gathered Saturday evening with 24 others. He shared this photo of his Seder plate. Hours later, state troopers banging on the door to get everyone out.
Chief, had the door not been closed, could the fire have spread further and deeper inside the mansion, putting the governor and his family at risk?
If that door wasn't closed, the fire would have spread and would have definitely put the governor at even greater risk.
This is the part of the fence the suspect breached to make his way inside the governor's residence, where he set the fire with an incendiary device. Investigators cut away this part of the fence so they could do DNA testing.
Today, the governor surveyed the damage. Police say Balmer fled the scene and later turned himself in. Authorities say the 38-year-old mechanic had a plan, walking for approximately 1 hour from his residence to the governor's residence, allegedly while harboring hatred towards Governor Shapiro. Asked by police what he would have done if the governor found him inside, Balmer allegedly replied, would have beaten him with his hammer. In the Oval Office, President Trump on the incident today.
The attacker was not a fan of Trump, I understand, just from what I read and from what I've been told. The attacker basically wasn't a fan of anybody. It's probably just a whack job. And certainly a thing like that cannot be allowed to happen.
Just moments ago, bomber seen here, handcuffed and shackled at the waist, escorted by police on his way into a Pennsylvania courtroom to face charges of attempted murder and terrorism.
We just came from court. David Muir was denied bail. He told the judge he had no mental health problems, but investigators are ruling out nothing when it comes to motive. They're looking at financial and medical history, social media posts about politicians, and whether Governor Shapiro's Jewish faith played any role. David?
What a horrific scene that was. Aaron Katersky leading us off tonight. Aaron, thank you. Also tonight, the images still coming in after that strong earthquake hit Southern California. A 5.2 magnitude quake near San Diego. Warnings all the way to Los Angeles. A home camera capturing the shaking in a living room in El Cajon. A nanny cam showing a sleeping baby wakened by the earthquake. For many, a cell phone warning going out just before the earthquake hit. And tonight, there's obvious concern about possible aftershocks now. Stephanie Ramos is in Southern California for us.
Tonight, families in Southern California bracing for aftershocks after a 5.2 magnitude earthquake struck near San Diego.
Breaking news.
Our affiliate KGTV breaking into programming.
We are bringing you breaking news here at 10:16, and you may have felt it, a pretty strong earthquake.
Home surveillance cameras catching the tremor. Watch as it shakes this baby awake. Everyone's okay.
We're swaying like this in the elevator.
Reggie Novinario was 35 floors up working on this downtown San Diego skyscraper.
Were you worried about your life?
Yeah, as everybody was. The guys on top, they're on the side of the building and they could fall off.
The 5.2 quake's epicenter near Julian, California, a mountain town about 60 miles northeast of San Diego. At the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, frightened elephants instinctively forming what's known as an alert circle to protect the herd. The quake sending boulders onto roads, authorities still assessing damage tonight.
There could be some aftershocks after this quake. And David, people got an early warning. Scientists at Caltech say the MyShake app alerted people this quake was coming just seconds before it hit. David.
Stephanie Ramos in Southern California. Steph, thank you. Now to the immigration standoff over the Maryland husband and father wrongly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador. The U.S. Supreme Court just days ago ruling the U.S. must facilitate his return. But today, President Trump and the president of El Salvador in the Oval Office, El Salvador's president, when asked if he'll return the man, said that was a preposterous question. Here's Terry Moran tonight.
At the White House today, President Trump and the president of El Salvador, and at the center of their agenda, one man, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man, a Salvadoran immigrant, husband and father, whom the Trump administration admits was mistakenly deported to that notorious prison in El Salvador.
And he's done a fantastic job.
Today, Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele said he's got no plans to send Abrego Garcia back home to the U.S. and his family.
How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, the question is preposterous.
The Supreme Court unanimously ruled late last week that Abrego Garcia's removal to El Salvador was, quote, illegal, and ordered the Trump administration to facilitate his return. The administration claims Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang, but a federal judge said last week they have offered, quote, no evidence to back that up, and he has no criminal record here or in El Salvador. After that ruling, President Trump told reporters this.
I have great respect for the Supreme Court. If they said to bring him back, I would tell them to bring him back.
But now the administration argues that federal courts have no authority to direct the executive branch on how to conduct foreign relations. And Attorney General Pam Bondi said today that bringing Abrego Garcia back would be up to El Salvador.
That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us.
And over the weekend, 10 more migrants were sent to that prison in El Salvador. Trump said he likes it, even for U.S. citizens, suggesting Americans could be next.
I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that.
That might sound like Trump's just joking, trying to rile up his opponents, but before reporters and cameras were in the Oval Office, a member of the Salvadoran delegation was live streaming, and Trump can be heard saying to Bukele, quote, homegrowns are next, the homegrowns, suggesting that Bukele needs to build about 5 more prisons. Bukele laughed, and Trump can be heard saying, quote, it's not big enough.
David?
Terry Moran at the White House for us. Terry, thank you. We turn next tonight to President Trump's tariff whiplash, the president exempting iPhones, computers, and many high-tech items, only to now say that's just temporary and that those tariffs will soon return in a new bucket, saying tariffs on pharmaceuticals are coming too. Meantime, amid this trade war with China, where President Xi of China is tonight. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, President Trump signaling even more tariffs are now on the horizon, saying he plans to invoke national security to impose new taxes on imported pharmaceuticals and on computer chips essential to powering everything from cell phones to cars. He insists it's the only way to convince companies to move manufacturing back to the U.S.
All I have to do is impose a tariff. Well, the higher the tariff, the faster they come.
But it comes after a weekend of swerves and contradictions. Trump has also agreed to a temporary exemption for smartphones, computers, and other electronics from most of the staggering 145% tariffs he has put on products imported from China. Though these are the very products the president argues should be manufactured in the U.S. And he has not said how long that exemption will last. Already, the tariffs have cost companies like Apple billions of dollars in market value.
I'm a very flexible person. I don't change my mind, but I'm flexible. And you have to be. I speak to Tim Cook. I helped Tim Cook recently, and that whole business. I don't want to hurt anybody.
But that's no comfort for small business owners like Linda Schlesinger-Wagner of Birmingham, Michigan, who founded her clothing line Skinny Tees in 2009.
Little people are not going to survive this. We're a little person.
She says she has a large shipment of clothing arriving from China and shudders at the thought of paying a 145% tariff.
People have said to me, well, why don't you make it in the United States? We don't have the capacity in the United States. It'll take years to tool up these factories.
President Trump has been urging China's President Xi Jinping to come to the table and make a deal. Instead, President Xi is in Vietnam tonight, building alliances with other countries hit by President Trump's tariffs. Xi writing in Vietnam's official newspaper, there are no winners in a trade war. Sensing an opening to expand China's influence, Xi writing his country is now trying to ensure more stability for a changing and turbulent world and inject more positive energy in it.
The Trump administration says it is negotiating with other countries on trade deals and has received at least 10 good offers, meeting with Japan and South Korea this week. But so far, no deals yet. And one country that's not at that negotiating table, China, as this trade war only escalates, David.
With President Xi now in Vietnam, as you pointed out there, Rachel, thank you. We turn next tonight here to the tragic plane crash in a field in upstate New York, killing a former NCAA Woman of the Year, her parents, her brother, and 2 others on that plane. Just 10 miles from the airport. And here's Gio Benitez tonight.
Tonight, NTSB investigators are working through the wreckage of a private plane that plunged into this field in upstate New York, just 10 miles from the airport, killing all 6 on board.
What we can say is weather was, at that time, what we consider to be deteriorating.
The Mitsubishi MU-2B was heading from Westchester County to Columbia County, New York, when the plane's owner and pilot, Dr. Michael Groff, reported a missed approach and asked for guidance for a second approach. Air traffic control tried warning the pilot 3 times that he was flying too low but could not reach him. The crash, investigators say, was captured on a nearby camera.
The video appears to show that the aircraft was intact and crashed at a high rate of descent into the ground.
Dr. Michael Groff, a neurosurgeon, was killed along with his wife, Dr. Joy Saini, who was also a surgeon, along with 2 adult children and their partners.
Karina Groff.
Their daughter, Corinna Groff, who had played soccer for MIT, was named the NCAA Woman of the Year in 2022, honored for her work designing masks for essential workers during the pandemic. And David, all of the families involved say they are devastated and that they will remember them as the 6 brilliant, dynamic, and loving people that they were. David.
What a loss. Gio Benitez tonight. Gio, thank you. There's also news tonight after that deadly tourist helicopter crash right into New York's Hudson River. This afternoon, divers recovering what appears to be the chopper's main rotor, of course, critical to the search for clues. We're also learning the chopper was not equipped with a black box. The FAA tonight also saying the sightseeing helicopter company is shutting down. That crash killing a family of 5 visiting from Spain and the pilot. Now to the history made tonight. The star-studded all-female Blue Origin flight crew, including singer Katy Perry and TV journalist Gayle King, blasting off from West Texas, heading to the edge of space. Gayle King's best friend Oprah crying at liftoff, parachutes bringing the capsule down, and what the passenger said right after landing. ABC's Maria Villarreal right there in West Texas for us.
2, 1, ignition.
Tonight, a star-studded all-female crew blasting off into space.
Liftoff. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
6 women, including pop star Katy Perry and journalist Gayle King, launching from Texas on board billionaire Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin New Shepard rocket. Gayle King's best friend Oprah crying as she watched the spaceship soar.
Oprah watching her best friend go to space.
The incredible moment. The women experiencing 4 minutes in zero gravity, floating.
Look at the moon. That's amazing.
Then the capsule safely parachuting back home, touching down in a cloud of dust.
Congratulations and welcome back to Earth.
Gayle King kissing the ground too after emerging.
I feel super connected to love.
How are you hoping that this moment affects change for other people moving forward?
I hope they can see the unity that we modeled and replicate that and understand that we weren't just taking up space, we were making space for the future.
David, this was a serious mission where data and research were collected, but for those people wondering if Katy Perry sang, she did on Descent, and she chose a classic, What a Wonderful World. David?
It was quite a voyage we witnessed today. Maria Villarreal there in Texas tonight. Maria, thank you. Tonight, Harvard rejecting demands from the Trump administration. The university rejecting several demands, including dismantling diversity initiatives and screening international students for anti-Semitism and other beliefs. The move putting $9 billion in federal funding at risk. The school's president writing, no government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study they can pursue. When we come back here tonight, the storm's hitting this evening, the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, parts of the East, and we'll time it out for you. And look at this, the woman clinging to a side of a cliff for more than an hour. A rescuer dropping from a helicopter in the effort to save her in a moment. Next tonight, we're tracking those storms moving in this evening, a storm system moving through the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic from Lexington, Kentucky, all the way to Washington, D.C. Dangerous winds, large hail, and possible isolated tornadoes tonight. When we come back here, that remarkable rescue, the woman clinging to a side of a cliff for more than an hour, the rescuer dropping down from a helicopter, and you'll see it. And tonight, millions watching golfer Rory McIlroy's win. Tonight, his message to his daughter, Poppy. To the Index, a daring cliff rescue south of San Bernardino County, California. A hiker exhausted, desperately gripping the side of a cliff for more than an hour. A rescuer dropping from a helicopter using a bear hug to attach a strap. He then lifted the woman up to the helicopter and to safety. When we come back here tonight, golfer Rory McIlroy wins the Masters finally, and tonight his message for his parents back in Ireland and the message for his 4-year-old daughter, Poppy.
ABC World News Tonight with David Muir, sponsored by Pacific Life, creating financial security for nearly 160 years.
Finally tonight, the 17th time is the charm. He tried 17 times for this moment.
The long journey is over. McIlroy has his masterpiece.
Rory McIlroy, 35 years old, emotional, winning the Masters for the first time. The crowd chanting his name, hugging his wife and his 4-year-old daughter, Poppy.
Congratulations, Rory.
He'd won every major golf championship except the Masters, within reach before he missed this putt on the last hole, leading to a sudden death playoff round, and then the shot that won it all.
The long journey is over. McIlroy.
I want to say hello to my mum and dad. They're back home in Northern Ireland.
They made a lot of sacrifices for you.
They did.
Tonight, Rory McIlroy is now one of only 6 golfers to win all 4 major golf championships. And perhaps the good luck charm this time is 4-year-old daughter, Poppy, and that 25-foot putt right before the Masters started. After his win, his message for his little girl.
The one thing I would say to my daughter, Poppy, that's sitting over there, never give up on your dreams. Never, ever give up on your dreams.
It was thrilling. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.